Hello, Internet.
Hey there.
How
Hi.
are we doing tonight?
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Tuesday
Rise and shine.
night.
It's all that good stuff. All the gravy stuff.
Of course, of course.
Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done.
It's just saying, hey, come back and do this. I'm like, I'll do it later. I don't need to do it now.
You just, not do it now.
I won't
like
do it
me.
now. No.
And this paper.
Now is the podcast.
Now is the podcast. Paper is later. But I'm in major dilemmas with this paper.
Oh, what are the major dilemmas?
I'm a gamer, and I have two amazing games to play or write the paper. You know, it's a choice of words.
Play video games or do well in school. Play video games or do well in school.
You know me. And you know me with projects, because you've been a part of a few of them. So, you know I am good at planning it out thoroughly.
Well, that's good. You want to plan it out thoroughly.
Thoroughly.
And
That means play the games. So.
there we go. So freaking tired. Yeah, I can attest to being tired. Tired is a thing.
I'm tired. It's only Tuesday. But, you know, hey, I'm in, all the good stuff. We'll talk about it in the happenings.
In the happenings. I know I've been busy the last couple of days, so I'm definitely feeling a little tired myself.
Tired and shake and bake. Bake and shake.
Yep.
I'm salary, so that doesn't work in my book.
No. Working overtime the last 3 weeks. Oof. No. Nothing but love for that.
No, don't like the OT. But hey, sometimes it's just gotta get done. I know. I've done it.
So true.
I have
So
done
true. Does look better.
it. Fixing screens and fixing things.
Well, I typically have, because Windows has this thing where it's like you can set times for it to change the tone of the color on the screen to kind of help with your eyes, so you're not up all night with bright stuff. And it was recently pointed out that several of my streams recently, which happened at night, the video feed actually has that tinting over it, so it's like
okay.
So
the tint,
yes, it could be that. So trying to remember to turn that off when I'm done. So but yeah, it's okay. It's Tuesday night. It's time for Scuba and The Ry. This is, of course, Scuba, your wonderful co-host, and of course we got Ry Guy
right here.
So as usual, we talk about movies, games, geek kind of goofiness, fun. Oh yes, Tomorrow is Veterans Day, and today is November 10th, so it's Marine Corps birthday. Hoorah! Got a shout out to all those Marines out there, including myself.
Yes.
And of course, Veterans Day is tomorrow, and it is, as in the chat, it is a birthday. So happy birthday to Harley Girl.
Happy birthday, Harley.
I didn't forget.
Woo.
But yeah, it's a good day off. I think the kids are all out of school for the day. And
so.
well,
But they're still, they do their thing.
I mean, they're still kind of a little more structured than like college kids, so
Yeah. Speaking of structured college kids, right here, that's trying to get out of doing a paper, but has to do it.
Hey, you get it done, you get it out of the way, then you can focus on those games without that on your conscience.
But just know, I am ready. I have it planned. I got my sources. I read my sources. I write my annotated bibliography. It's done.
Oh yeah, I saw that video. It took me a minute.
We welcome the weirdness. I welcome the weirdness.
I gotta work on my Instagram game. My Instagram game is weak. I'm starting to work on my thumbnail game, but yeah.
Hey, one step at a time.
It's weird trying to build out a business that's social media and whatnot, and there's so many things to learn and so many things that you have to make sure you go back and revamp, like trying to revamp thumbnails now to make them more interesting and clickable, and that takes a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. But I want to give a shout out and a thank you to Syrinscape for the background musics and soundboards I want to give a shout out to everyone in the community who has been supporting us. You guys are awesome and amazing. Please continue that support. Keeps the lights on. It keeps me doing this stuff and keeps me from having to go find like a real job.
Yeah, make it happen.
So support me. Keep me here.
Support this guy.
And unless you don't want to support me, then I'll go away.
Yeah, it would be a sad face. But we got
Sad
a lot of
face.
breweries over here, so we can drink and be sad face.
But
Or drink and be happy face. The term is drink.
and be merry.
Responsibly.
Yes. Yes, be responsible. And after the last week we've had, being responsible is an important thing. Anyways, so got that going on. Let us and if you guys have any questions in the chat, by all means, please make sure you type question in all caps, and that will should filter it up so we can respond to those questions.
I'll drink with you, Harley.
Yep.
I'll just
Have
do
it
it for
if you
Virginia.
can, and drink responsibly. By all means, do that, because that's what people do. I mean,
yeah.
one of the beauties of Marine Corps history is Marine Corps was founded in a tavern.
Yes, sir. We'll drink to that. Hoorah.
So, alrighty. Well, we got a couple of things to talk about tonight. But it should be a fairly light night.
A light night, but blaze of glory in the end of the days.
We will see. So, starting off with our what's up. Fictional few minutes. We'll talk about what we've been up to and in the past week. As always, Ry, why don't you lead us off? What have you been up to the last week?
Last week, putting aside work and school because that's the repetitious, boring, whatever kind of stuff. You know what I do there. I train, I school, I write, I drown in books. But on the fun side, me and my cousin went out and did a little fun adventure on Saturday. She actually had a chance, and we were able to go to a winery, which I've been trying to take her to a winery for months. But we went to a brunch place in Hampton called Mango Mango. It was delicious. I got the fried chicken, fried French toast, and it was Creole fried chicken on top of 4 Texas French toast. Delicious. That's all I can say. Outside of that, we went to one winery. Saudi Creek Winery is up in the peninsula. Had to makeshift it because had to fit in some time constraints for her. But we made it back in time to hit up Farmhouse, meet up with another one of our friends. And I saw the can of the Azul cider there, so of course I bought it and brought it home because that was great because they dropped it last weekend for the Day of the Dead celebration. So I was like, okay. Who knows when this drink will be available? Because if you know Farmhouse, they rotate out their drinks seasonally. So whenever I can get a hold of those seasonal ciders, I take them home, and that's what I did. Sunday was, like I told Scuba, Sunday's usually my school day, and I read a book in one day for my class. It was called Masters of Maramba. It's an interesting book because it's an Australian romance novel. So I never read an Australian novel, just never read one, and then reading one that's a romance novel. It was really
antipoding when we need them.
It was definitely very, very interesting. It was very fun. It had a very Jane Eyre kind of feeling, but it was modern. I knew it was modern because when I saw words like Harry Potter in there and driving RAV4s, I was like, yeah, this is modern day. But it was interesting. It follows a girl who seeks out a governoress position and kind of falls in love with the guy that hired her. But it was a very fun story. So,
Well, that's good.
Other than that, just eagerly exciting and anticipating the time I can play the new game I bought. But I did venture out to Best Buy today because I wanted to pick up My Hero Academia.
Yeah, you were telling me that was an interesting story.
Interesting story about the system. So I know the systems are sold out. That's the obvious thing. But I wanted to at least see because they would have them on display, and they did. So I went to the Microsoft section. I checked out the new Xbox Series S and Series X. This is Xbox Day. Woo! Celebrate.
Yeah, they've been live streaming all day.
Oh yeah. So the Xbox Series X, which is the high-end model, is actually a little small box, not too bigger than my face right here, people. Not too bigger than my face. That's the black box, the high-end box. The Xbox Series S is smaller than that little black box. The PS5 is a monster of a device. I was telling Scuba that PS5 is bigger than his own his own tower here.
Which that tower is roughly 22 inches in height.
Yes, so it's taller than that and very thick looking.
And it's also got a weird shape to it, right?
Yeah, it curves up like this. Curves up. If you can see me on the vids, it curves up like that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's so weird because PlayStation seems to have this thing where it's like, let's make the console look weird, which I'm sure they've got some engineering mumbo jumbo to back it up. Yeah. But I like how the Xbox consoles are actually kind of a nice form factor that fits in most places.
Oh yeah.
Whereas PlayStation, it's got to have its own dedicated thing. I guess that's their subtle way of saying we are better than everybody. Put us on a pedestal and worship us.
Yeah, and it's just kind of funny because when I think about it and I think about all the specs of both machines, how Microsoft can get it to fit in this box, but PS5 couldn't, and Sony couldn't in that PS5. So, you know, it is what it is. They like to do their thing. But another interesting thing.
Hey, they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on research and development, and somebody thought it was a good idea to make it look that way.
Me too. But it's interesting. So I checked the Best Buy website, sold out Xbox. Obvious, I knew it was going to happen. I just was like, hey, let me just take a look. Went to Amazon. They do have Xbox Series X for sale. But there's a catch. The cheapest one I saw that was for sale on Amazon today was $1,500. Cheapest. So if you really want a system, you're gonna check out some dollars. Me, I am good until I can find one.
That's the whole scalping thing. Yeah. That's the whole scalping thing. But speaking of that, and we can chat about that now, is the fact that PlayStation has a couple articles came out. One of them said that PlayStation is actually not going to have any of the PS5s in stores on launch day because they decided to encourage social distancing and not potentially cause a social congregation to pick up consoles in the store on launch day. So the only it's purely an online kind of deal, in which we know they're going to be sold out like ridiculously.
Yeah, they're sold out, but you can get the controllers. They have a lot of PS5 controllers at the store.
Yeah, every time you have some new console. I mean, we see this with toys. I mean, I don't know if you remember this. You would remember this, Ryan. I know some people wouldn't, but I remember when the whole thing for the Christmas toy thing. I mean, what sparked some of the story element of Jingle All the Way, like the Tickle Me Elmo
and the Furby. What was it? There was another.
Furbies are still evil.
Yeah. There was another one. There was like a device, like a game device that was causing havoc too. But the Tickle Me Elmo one is definitely the one that I remember so much. People were like drop kicking and getting thrown through windows just for a stuffed animal that goes, you know.
Yeah. Well, I definitely remember the Furby thing, and Furbies are evil.
Yeah. Furby, you know.
I actually got into some financial problems because of Furbies. Because I was dating a girl in Texas, and I put in trying to keep on her good graces or whatever, you know, stupid things kids do. And I spent money I really shouldn't have on finding and getting her a Furby.
Yeah.
And after a while it was like, we got one and we were just kind of hanging out. And then a few weeks later she brings one out and says, mine's stupid. It won't learn anything. And I'm just like, are you out of your freaking mind? You out of your freaking mind?
I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? But they are doing that Black Friday over the weeks because they got a lot of the Black Friday sales when I looked in there.
Best Buy's marketing for that is ridiculous right now.
Yeah. I really wanted a TV.
Let's not have Black Friday. Let's just have Black November.
Yeah.
Or whatever, just like every day is a sale day.
Hey, I like it that way though, because I could just walk in and be like, hey, here we go, grab.
I mean, think about it, you're not really saving a lot of money on it. Yeah. I mean, you're not. It's literally a bait and switch.
Yeah. Hey, but they have a lot of TVs. You want TVs, people?
I'm good. I'm really good. I'd be happy with crafting supplies, paintbrushes, paints, those things to do that, to make content versus, buying yet another TV. I've got plenty.
They do have some Switches I saw, because I know you were talking about Switches, Scuba. I did see them.
Yes, I would like to. I would like to do Nintendo Switches, but I can't. I'm gonna be responsible. But yeah, and yeah, if I had the option to work overtime, I would probably work overtime. I mean, those days are long behind me now. I don't want to do it again.
Oh yeah, but it was fun. It was just interesting to seeing the differences between the two systems in person. So.
Well, it's always good. And you did say that they didn't have any PlayStation 5 consoles, but they got racks and racks of PlayStation 5
racks
controllers.
And racks of the controller, so you can sit there on the couch pressing buttons but not doing anything. So
no. But yeah, so it was just. So what else did you do?
Other than that, nothing else going on. Just like I said,
pretty quiet.
Had this paper, planning it. Already got my sources. Spending this weekend coming up working on that. So
yeah, well,
and working on some games, but I'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Well, I've been working on catching up on my backlog, which again, every so often I apologize for this, but did manage to get through last week and get all of the previous podcast episodes and D&D game episodes edited and up onto YouTube and all staged and queued out. So we got YouTube content coming out. And today I finished making the audio files for the audio podcast. So if you were following us on audio, probably by the time you listen to this, you've been bombarded with all kinds of audio only versions of all our shows.
Oh yeah.
I had to rebuild my my distribution nodes, which I will finish working on that tomorrow. So if you miss catching us on an audio only, trust me, that is coming. I should have an update for that next time we chat here on the live show. But the only other thing was my daughter had to go to the hospital over the weekend.
Ouch.
Yeah, she was having some stomach issues, and she went into the hospital and got it checked out, severe nausea and whatever. So it looks like she's got some combination of stomach flu and some weirdness going on with the intestine tract. So, but that was kind of one of those things, is like we're staying up all night waiting on word. I was here because I had friends coming over. My wife was at the hospital with her, but it was that every 30, 40 minutes there was an update text. So like, here's this. They finally got home like 10, 11 o'clock at night. But it was crazy.
It was. But
yeah,
awesome.
I mean, she was asleep most of the day yesterday. Finally, she started, being out and about, her normal bubbly self. So hopefully she'll be going to school tomorrow.
Normal Skittles.
Yeah, but Skittles is better now. She's been bouncing around and whatever. I think she had an appointment today. She had an appointment today with the pediatrician, and it was like afterwards, my wife calls me and it's like, yeah, she wants a hamburger, so we're gonna stop at McDonald's. I'm like, I don't like McDonald's, but if you want to stop at Hardee's.
I like your bait and switch. I guess we know what the word of tonight is. I don't want a burger, but if you happen to go by Hardee's,
Well, I thought it was funny because she hasn't eaten anything in several days, and as soon as she's like, I'm hungry, I want a hamburger. I'm like, yeah, I've seen this gag. Where was that? Oh, Iron Man.
Speaking of food and stuff, before I forget, my mom's birthday was last week.
Oh yes, so, happy birthday.
I didn't get to go out to eat with them because I had class, but they went to Reggilina's. It's an Italian place in Virginia Beach. I told them to bring back the lasagna because the lasagna is dang good, delicious there. So just want to say that
if you can get there's certain foods, it's like you find a place that'll do it. It's good to do it.
But yeah, we got her an awesome gift, so she'll definitely enjoy it.
And I got a buddy's birthday's coming up, and we're like, and I always like when we go out for those birthday dinners.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. You get to this age, it's like, you know what? I don't care about parties or whatever or gifts. I just like having that group dine out experience.
Yeah, that's all I care about. I don't ask for gifts. I don't want anything. I just want to just chill and relax.
Chill, relax, good food, good company, good times. I'm good.
Yeah.
Good.
That's why farmhouse is turning into that chill spot.
Yeah, well, you need to sit there and be like, hey, going to farmhouse, you in?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, dude.
Well, this last weekend it was just a random. Hey, let's just, you know.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's good.
But there's more events coming.
Yeah, it's all good.
But I think farmhouse opened up at the right time for my age. Like I'm in that point where like I just want a place to chill and drink. Farmhouse was like, here you go. So.
Hey, Harley girl, was it one of those cards where you just like accept it, chuckled, and be like, grumble, grumble? It's like smart aleck, grumble, grumble. Because my dad did that to me when he gave me my my card for turning 40. I was just like, oh, really? Just had to turn the knife on that, didn't you? But yeah, it's all good. I mean, a lot of work on studio stuff. I'm getting to the point I'm able to work on more content stuff. So
Yeah.
I was still working on my Warhammer army. I'm getting a little further along. Did another coat of another coat, base coat on some minis. So it's like cool. Trying to make this whole internet business work, or start looking for a real job.
Right.
I don't want to look for a real job.
Yeah. We'll make it work.
I know.
You know, there's always a fallback, but hey, it's how we do, and we do whatever we do.
Yep, that's how we do it. Alrighty, well, I think we're good there. So what do you say we get into our movie review for the week?
Let's talk about the films.
Let's talk about those films. Let's talk about those films.
What kind of film are we talking about?
This week we have another film from Kevin Costner, Let Him Go.
Let Him Go. Did you let him go? I hope you did.
I let it go.
Touche, my friend, touche.
Did the whole move, get out the way.
Good night, peace.
All right, broke Rye in like less than 30 minutes. Score, achievement unlocked.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's hard to crack this randomness here. So. Okay. Cool beans.
So we have Kevin Costner and Diane Lane in another Western film. It seems Kevin Costner is the modern day Western guy, because most of his films lately seem to be Westerns.
Oh yeah, most of them it is, and a series that he's on Paramount. He's playing a pseudo modern day Western. But this is a film. And like you said, it stars Diane Lane and Kevin Costner, and they star in as a couple. Kevin Costner plays George, and Diane Lane plays Margaret. And the story centers around they are a couple that lives in Montana, and they have to face a very tragic event. Their son dies. And because of what happens with the son, certain events happen that leads to the ex-wife getting remarried, and then with their grandson, her son, they just kind of disappear. So the film starts at that point, and basically the two leads have to go and try to find their grandson to bring him back. There's other certain things that are happening why they want to bring the son back, or the grandson back, but that's basically the premise of this film. You heard the term, I've said it before, it's a modern day Western. And what I mean by that is that everybody's familiar with the Western genre, the Western trope. You know, the cowboy running out west, facing the Native Americans, facing bandits and stuff. So when you take those ideas and fuse it into modern day, you get a lot of the same kind of tropes, the same kind of character types, and all that so forth. But here, they kind of blended in with two different genres, drama and revenge thriller. And it's two halves of a whole. The first half is the drama, so it focuses on George and Margaret dealing in the aftermath of their son's death, and then just trying to come to terms with that, and you get to follow them and live and breathe their life through what I call commonplace narrative. And that's an application of everyday routines that bring meaningful stature. So it takes the monotony, but makes it endearing. So it's through a very conversational approach. It's very slow, methodical, like a Western, but in a very modern setting. And then once the ex-wife disappears with the grandson, that triggers them to go after. So it leads into a latter half, which turns into a revenge thriller. So there's certain things that Diane Lane's character Margaret that sees that she doesn't like what the new husband is doing to the wife and the grandson, being kind of terrible. So when they are starting to track them down, it turns into your typical point A to B method that you find in a Western where the sheriff is going trying to track down the criminals. But in this case, it's the couple tracking down the grandson, and it leads them to this family and leads them into North Dakota. At that point, it starts to deteriorate into a very telegraphed narrative. Beat by beat, you can guess from scene to scene what is going to happen and what eventually is going to happen in the final act. It turns into the ultimate sacrifice, which you find in a lot of Westerns. And even when that full circle approach comes, what makes the film and the journey so appreciative is that it centers on the theme of tragedy. So even when there's a slight chance of hope, there's always some kind of tragic event that kind of whittles away at their humanity. And it kind of ends that way. There's like hope and
How many
tragedy.
of these have we seen in the last 2-3 years? Because this sounds very reminiscent of the one Liam Neeson did not too long ago, and half a dozen other ones we've seen. I mean, this does not feel like it's a. Granted, yeah, there are no original ideas in Hollywood, but I swear this has probably been. This is one of those that it sounds like it's literally been done before.
Yeah, it's a little bit done before, and the simple narrative is what makes it not as grand as it wants to be. But the one thing that is very appreciative when it's a Western, even if it's a modern day Western, is that it focuses on the characters, and it does that enough, and you have strong leads that it's enough to carry and create an endearing experience. So even if it's familiar and it's very telegraphed in the third act, it kind of brought it down for me a little bit because I guessed the scenes beat by beat exactly what's going to happen with no hesitation. But it was still an endearing experience because Kevin Costner and Diane Lane bring it. So
yeah. I mean, there's no shortage with what they bring to the table.
Yeah.
So what did we call this one?
Overall, it's a decent modern Western take on the tropes, very telegraphed. So this one was a date night with my girlfriend at the theaters, which is a rarity right now. So 3.5 out of 5. It's worth a matinee price. So.
Okay. That sounds decent. I mean, again, I hadn't. You went and saw it in theater, so I probably won't see it. But it sounds like, you know.
If I were to what the heck is the name of it?
This isn't like the Western revival of old or anything like that, or some of the early works. This is just okay. Seen this. Here's a different take on it, or a slightly different take.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not the best. If I were to recommend a unique modern day Western for anybody outside of Logan, it would be Hell or High Water. That is the one. If you've never watched it, go watch it. You'll thank me later.
Alrighty. Well, if you want to check out the review and all the other reviews Ry does, go to ryreviews.com and check out his reviews. He's got a plethora of films up there, and we will tune in for next time he does one.
Have some interesting picks.
Of course.
Maybe a TV review next week.
Maybe. Alrighty. So after that is we have our state of game. And
state of game.
This is the point where we talk about the various games we were playing and what we're playing and how we're playing them. I think gonna start off with let's continue that PlayStation talk, and let's talk about another news article that came out with PlayStation, and that was PlayStation seems to have settled on a price of $70 for their first party titles going forward.
Yeah, it's been rumored for a while, but it started heating up and being reported that Sony is going to price their games at $70 first party games, with a few exceptions, but that's going to be the starting point. And you mentioned something to me earlier about that $70 mark.
I mean, we've seen, most games right now, most AAA titles, you're not spending, like right now, it's like an average cost of $60. And to preface this particular article that sourcing that came from IGN, this story originally broke in a Reuters article.
Yeah.
Prior Reuters or Bloomberg prior to IGN doing their take on it. But you think about it, your AAA title like Assassin's Creed Valhalla or whatnot, those games have a DLC or a season pass that comes with it.
Yes, they do.
So you'll spend $60 on that, another $40. So on average, you're spending $100 on a game.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they're going to raise it up $10, which normally though we don't see a lot of inflation when it comes to the video game prices. I mean, it went years and years and years without much of a price change. Now we're going to see a price change, and Sony even said that not every game is going to be at $70. And the interesting thing from the article is they actually were talked down to $70. So they don't specify where Sony originally wanted to price their games, but they had to be talked down to $70. So it's like, okay, we're about to see the inflation on the video game market. And again, most serious gamers don't only buy a couple of titles a year. They don't buy every title that comes out.
Yeah.
Which take that into account when factoring it in. But looking at, it's like, okay, I'm gonna now spend $70. Well, DLC season passes, they may get a price increase too. So we might start seeing $150 for a game just to get a AAA game that has all the DLC stuff to go with it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they already said the new Call of Duty is going to be $70.
From the looks of it, it's probably, worth the price tag.
Well, I mean, they sat there. Well, catch is though, that's if you get a physical disc. Because even now, you buy a physical disc for the game, you still are going to spend a bunch of time downloading it. And
yeah.
Ry, you just picked up Assassin's Creed Valhalla, right?
Yep, the last two games I just purchased, Watchdog Legions and Valhalla, I straight up just bought it digitally.
And literally, it's up, download, done, good. I mean, this is why GameStop went into an agreement with Microsoft where they will get a cut of all the digital sales for Xbox. Will go to GameStop. Yeah. I mean, and GameStop has stopped really focusing on the video game side of things and moved into more like the video game paraphernalia.
Yeah, paraphernalia, all the pops, all the different knickknacks that you would find to be a nerd.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't see. I mean, they do have some difference. Like the new Spider-Man game is going to be $70 if you could add. That's the version that comes with a remastered version of the first Spider-Man game they released on PS4. Yeah. No, it's going to be $70 for PS5, but it's a lower price now for just the Miles Morales game. Yeah. But if you want to spend the $70, you can get a remastered version of the first Spider-Man game to go with the Miles Morales game. So,
well, I'll just get Miles Morales.
But speaking of Legion, what's our latest game report on Legion?
Legion, I've been venturing off. It's called Ry Guy in Distraction because that's what happens when I get in open world games. There's the main story, and then there's 100 other things to do. And with Watch Dogs, there is 100 times 100 because not only do you have all these little knick-knack and things to do around the city of London, you come across things where you'll come across recruitment, which I talked about in the last podcast. You can recruit everybody. And then everybody has a special skills. Now I've come across even more specialized people. Like I just recruited somebody that is very efficient with drones. And this person not only is efficient with drones, they come with their own kind of tactile drone that shoots shock waves out from the sky. And it can also cause betrayal of every drone in the sky. So I spent a good hour just turning the counter-terrorist drones on each other and just watching them just wreak havoc in the streets. So yeah, while I could be doing missions, I'm just causing havoc in the streets.
It's what you call that squirrel moment.
Yeah, I have a lot of squirrel moments in Watch Dogs Legion, which is fine because it's not a very long game for the story, so I'm just kind of daddling over there.
Well, that's interesting how it's like we're not the story is short.
Yeah, the story's short.
But the amount of content in the game is so vast.
Yeah, I know there's like underground fight clubs. I just haven't found them yet.
Which is funny considering the other game you picked up, even though you haven't started playing yet, is Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yes, I did. I downloaded it last night.
And that one's got I just finished watching Gamers Little Playground's movie of it. And that's got a massive story.
Yep, and just from the look of it and the feel of it and the content that's going to be in it, just from what I've read already, it's the main story is 60, 70 hours. That doesn't include the extra content or the character builds. So yes, that game is going to take me. That's definitely going to hold me over till Cyberpunk. So hey, Glot.
What's up? What's up?
But last but not so next podcast I will have first impressions on Valhalla. Definitely will have impressions on Valhalla. But to wrap it up, the last 2 games on my 20 for 20 lists.
Oh, all right. What are those?
All right. So the last 2 games, the last hurrah of my 20 for 20 list. Number 19, very fond game, one that I cherish still to this day, is Pokemon Yellow on the original Game Boy.
Nice.
I was part of the original, wanna be the very best, because I had blue and red, but it was the yellow version that I really, really loved, because there was a more endearing impact because you had Pikachu. So that's why that's on the list. And for the finale, number 20, I don't think it's no surprise to a lot of people that know me, but it's The Witcher 3. That is by far one of the most impactful games on my gaming life, one of the most endearing stories I've ever played, and I say it all the time, it is my favorite game.
It's a great game.
I love that game to death.
I was actually debating buying Assassin's Creed Valhalla after watching the playthrough, but I actually can't play it.
You can't?
No.
Why?
Because the control system, I tried playing Assassin's Creed 4 and the control layout had me so flustered that I rage quit.
I would preface the you said Assassin's Creed 4, right?
Yeah, Black
it's
Flag.
It's a whole different combat system in Valhalla. It's more action RPG oriented, so more like The Witcher 3 than.
Well, even The Witcher 3, he gave me a lot of issues just getting the combat down.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. If the best thing is to get into Valhalla is to play the previous 2, Origins and Odyssey.
I do have a DLC. I do have an unlock code for Origins.
Yeah.
From when I watched the live stream when they literally built the cover art for Valhalla on stream.
Okay.
That was a huge long live stream where that was their announcement, was they literally had somebody with either Adobe Photo or Affinity Photo or something, and they pretty much built out the whole Assassin's Creed Valhalla cover art right there on stream.
That's awesome.
It was great. It was really great. So if you're a graphic artist, that was one of those great things to watch. But yeah, so there's your 20 for 20. There's your bit on Legion. I did a little bit more Baldur's Gate 3, getting used to that whole Warlock build and the whole mechanic system. Unfortunately, I only had a couple hours, so I don't have much on that. D&D games for the past week for as far as quick updates. Actually don't really have anything for this time around. I mean, they all had their moments. Shadow Watch, which used to be Twilight's Gleaming, they're starting a new adventure. They got into a major trap. Challenge accepted. They got involved in a trap as well. And Agents of Tall actually set their own trap for NPCs that come in on the next session. But I don't really have anything on that. I haven't gotten a lot of questions for stuff to answer on those, so I'm not gonna bore y'all with going into those details, to be honest. Gotta find a way to get better questions both post stream and stuff. But anyways, either that, I'm just really tired. In time. I mean, to be fair, I'm not really feeling it right now because it's like, it's all the stress right now with certain things. It's just like trying to find that drive, find that get up and go. And so, but I think we can kind of settle in for odds and ends, and at least have some giggles there.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna have a few giggles.
Yeah.
I'm already
Let's just move right into odds and ends.
Uh, talking about diving right in. Let me start off and put in the link inside the chat so you can follow along with us. Take it away, Scuba.
Well, if you click on the link, you might leave the show, but that's okay. So, out in California, because that's where all the good stories start, there's a pair of kayakers that went out whale watching. And of course, it's a good thing. Get your exercise, watch nature. It's all great until you happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time when a humpback whale is feeding. In this case, we had a couple, as I said, a couple of kayakers. One was sitting there when a bait ball of small fish rose up to the surface right around their kayak, and then a humpback whale came up right underneath, lifting the kayak out of the water and knocking its passenger into the water. This was, I mean, I literally cannot make this up. This is weird. What? They were sitting there. Yeah, it was probably on TikTok and everything,
Yeah.
but thankfully nobody died. Everybody's fine. Everybody made it back to shore. There was only one casualty in the whole experience, and that was the person lost their car keys when they got dunked in the water.
Oh yeah. So this is definitely it takes a whole new puts a whole new meaning to
I think one of my
get in the
favorite things on this is she's sitting there thinking she's gonna punch the whale and whatnot. I mean, this is a straight up Pinocchio reference. But
yeah.
that's pretty cool. I mean, you getting close to nature. This person just got a little too close.
Oh yeah.
But
it's just funny, and just the reaction. Just think about it. You're just swimming, and all of a sudden, here comes a big wide open mouth coming up. Buffet food, hungry. Doesn't matter what's there.
Speaking of food and hunger, how would you like to do a new and unique dining experience, Ry?
Okay, what kind of dining experience are we talking about?
Talking about a dining experience you do not have to travel halfway around the world for.
Oh, I don't.
Nope. You can go to Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, just up the street. A
You
few
can go to
hours.
Richmond, Rhode Island, to a preserve. The preserve at Boulder Hills, which has been building hobbit holes. So you remember our hobbit holes from the Shire, and the Shire is still built up there in New Zealand, and you can go and hang out at the Green Dragon. Well, now you can go to Rhode Island and go to a set of hobbit holes in this community and have a dining experience and enjoy a nice meal inside a hobbit hole.
Oh yeah, it definitely gives you another way to experience Middle Earth. And just to add fun to the desire, quote, located on 3,500 acres, besides acting as a sporting club and luxury resident community, dining is also exclusively available alongside other experiences, which includes the Hobbit homes that have been built in stone, end quote.
Yep, they have 2 completed, and they're in the process of building 3 more. And you can go in and check out this dining experience but keep in mind though, you're probably going to spend about $1,200 for the dining experience.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hefty range of pricing. So,
but they do like to theme up each one for the seasons or whatnot. But I mean, this is kind of cool. We finally get some Middle Earth and Middle Earth atmosphere.
yeah, and we don't have to travel too far, and it's definitely fun. And you can get a group of people, chip in on the cost, and help. It'll be a fun getaway, especially going up into New England, because there's you can go up to Salem, Plymouth, Cape Cod, Boston. There's a lot of things you can do.
Yeah, loads of fun. And speaking of Middle Earth,
as we travel,
let's talk about next article we have. It was at a PC Gamer magazine. And this was an article on the Minecraft Middle Earth server. They were celebrating their 10-year anniversary. So for the last 10 years in Minecraft, they have been building Middle Earth as Tolkien described. This is a massive undertaking because not only is it being built, and it's still being built, but they've been doing it since the game launched in its beta back in 2009. And they have been building it somewhat to scale in Middle Earth for Middle Earth. I mean, they have Minas Tirith. We have the picture of Isengard up here on the stream. We have, I mean, their server has grown to roughly 300 members with a complete organizational breakdown. They do build challenges to help with building things. And the thing is, when they started doing this, there was no flat earth to work off of. They had to literally recarve and relay everything to sit there and build out.
It's very fun, intuitive, and it's a good way of, bringing together people for, enjoyment, fun, excitement, and actually builds on the creativity of the human soul, because that you have to have a passion to work on it this long. And just to add, it like one of the people in there, Vermicha, says, quote, we had people who were interested from the Minecraft forum, so we had their solid player base to start with. We began building the basic locations like Bree and Hobbiton. Then after publishing screenshots, people got hooked on what we were doing and started joining the project, end quote.
Yep. And they were still working on it when the Hobbit trilogy movies came out, and they're still working through it. Oh, and because they're trying to build it to scale, and they're trying to cover in the details, and they're filling in where Tolkien's descriptions fall short and where you don't quite see on the film. Like their Minas Tirith is legit completely there with homes you can walk into and everything.
Oh yeah, and it's definitely interesting to see once they fill in Middle Earth, and like you said, expanding upon stuff that Tolkien didn't go in, and we know that Middle Earth is more expansive than
well, some of his descriptions in the book, like, okay, we see Minas Tirith, and even in the films we only see certain set pieces.
Yeah,
these guys have built it completely out, and they would do build challenges for people to work on the designs and the ones that kind of fit in with the aesthetic they were going for Middle Earth got to go in there. But it's the fact that they had to pretty much lay out each block by block. And as of the publishing of the article, the map for Minecraft Middle Earth is roughly 29,000 by 30,000 blocks. Now, to translate that over, that is roughly an area that is 870 square kilometers.
To give you, an aspect, they mentioned it is as around the same size as Dallas, Texas.
So yeah, it's pretty impressive how they've been going through this, and they're continuing on. Like they're working on Mordor right now, so it'll expand. I mean, right now we're talking this just covers the path, and they were saying a couple of interesting things. Like if you join in on that server, you can actually go when the spawn point is Hobbiton.
Yeah.
And they have footprints laid out. You could literally follow the footprints and follow the path the Fellowship took to go through Lord of the Rings. And I think that's a very impressive bit. And you can have these like little tours. They have a couple of great videos. If you go to YouTube and look up Minecraft Middle Earth, you should be able to find some of their videos. It's really amazing the stuff they built.
Yeah, it's fun to see, and what's even more exciting is knowing what will they add next.
Yes, because they do want to expand and include all the Hobbit stuff. It's just it takes time.
Oh yeah,
because this is block by block, modifications and stuff. But I'd say it's really impressive.
Yeah, and just being a Lord of the Rings Tolkien geek, I can
appreciate this.
Because I
thought I was building some impressive stuff, and I've seen some pretty impressive builds, but this,
yeah,
hands down.
When I came across this article, I was like, we have to talk about this one. And yeah, just knowing the lore and knowing the depth and knowing all the different places that even the books don't talk about, that are talked in the appendices. There's a lot of lands, a lot of history with other people, other races on Middle Earth, that if they expand south of Gondor, east of Mordor, into the land, into Khan and Rune and Haran and Far Khan, there's a lot of stuff they can do.
Oh yeah, but yeah, this is pretty cool.
We're geeking out over here, people.
Yep, geek out on that, and impressive in creativity, and this is positive. Now, how about some creativity that's not so positive?
Well, it might be a win-win for somebody. if you like them vehicles.
Oh, this is 3. Yeah. Yeah. On the screen, we got a picture of a Lamborghini. Why is this important? Because we're talking about a guy who pretty much got sent to jail after buying one of these. Why did he get sent to jail, you ask? Because he got sent to jail by the DOJ because this guy from Texas sat there and got 2 different paycheck protection program loans. For those of you who aren't familiar with paycheck protection loans, were a instituted for the COVID-19 thing to help with all the lockdown and to help keep people getting their paychecks.
Yeah.
This guy submitted for 2 different loans for 2 different companies, totaling in at about $1.6 million. Here's the kicker. This guy had no employees. So he took the money and went shopping. Bought himself a house, a Rolex, truck, and then went to buy the car. He finally got caught up with him, and he was thrown in jail for, taking advantage of the system. But this kind of irritates me because here is the let's put out a program and people just took advantage of the program.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy got caught. How many other people haven't been caught yet? Not that there is a lot of people doing this, but still, this is just bad form.
Yeah, it just brings down. I mean, other than the funny, it's definitely funny, but it just brings to light how when no matter government programs, people will find a way to get through some loopholes, and this person definitely got through a loophole. I mean,
you want to talk? People keep going on and about. There's no corruption. There's no corruption. It's like, bull. Look at this situation. Look at how many other situations where it's like it's extremely vague. They were just granting it for everybody and, relying on people's honesty. I mean, it's kind of sucks.
Yeah, because you don't know, you don't want too much regulation, but when you see stuff like this, you can't do a gentleman's agreement all the time.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, we've talked about that where, we had the discussions, some regulations are needed. And some regulations are needed. I will concede to that, but I also think that a lot of times when you do bailout programs like this, you're asking for it. Yeah, it does happen. It does happen, but
I think you're just asking for it when you do bailout programs like this. But hey, the big thing is the guy got caught. But
that's the good thing, because he still got caught because you can only run away from Uncle Sam for so long.
Oh, he'll always catch up. But the fact that he's able to pull it off not once but twice.
So, he was just to add fuel to the fire, $900,000 for Price Enterprise Holdings, and then $700,000 for 713 Construction. That's interesting.
It is interesting.
But
let's have some fun.
Let's end on a positive note.
We're talking about this. We're going to talk about these kind of government things and elections. Let's talk about an election that by far I was most happy to hear about. Let us talk about raising the woof on the new mayor of Robert Hash, Kentucky.
Woof, woof.
This happens to be a French bulldog who won the election to be mayor in this town in Kentucky. Now this is, since 1998, Rabbit Hash, Kentucky has had a canine mayor, or the mayor had a canine, and they would run an election process for this. Now this is really kind of cool because this election process is actually a means of raising money for the historical society in this town, which I think is a very creative way and a cool way to kind of get into the whole election cycle and do something positive for the community.
Yeah, it's a twofold approach, and a very positive twofold approach.
What I think is hilarious is this dog won by 13,000 votes.
The French bulldog Wilbur unseated the incumbent Gwyneth Paltrow.
Wow.
No, well, let me rephrase that. Gwyneth Paw Patrol.
All.
Patrol. So it's definitely
this is just a feel good thing. I just have to feel good about this. I mean, this is just hilarious.
Feel good story, and it definitely, you know, adds a weight, you know, to having, you know, having fun and, you know, giving fun to the dogs and actually helping, you know, historical society. So I'm always a plus for that. Because the money is help raise money to keep towns' historic buildings in good conditions.
Which is always a bonus. Because, you know, I mean, everybody's struggling with those things. But yeah, that's our odds and ends. They were kind of short stories, bits and pieces where we offer our opinions and thoughts on them. And kind of go from there. Waiting for everything to catch up. Alrighty, well. That pretty much is it for our show this week. It was kind of light this week, wasn't it?
A little bit light. Got that. Definitely light, but it's all good. It's still, even though it's light, we still did talk about a lot.
We always seem to. We always cover a lot of things. And if you liked what you were listening to, by all means, please consider following us. If you're checking it out on our social medias, YouTube, Scuba Studio YouTube, be sure to check us out there. Click on the like, the follow, or the like and the subscribe, and hit the little bell to be notified when we got more shows. If you're listening to this on our audio versions, please consider subscribing to hear about all those cool things. And if you want to support the show, we got links and doodads and the doobly-doo that you can help us support the show. And with that, I think it's time for us to call it an early night. And wish you all a happy, safe weekend, and we will see you on our next stream. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Peace.